I love the little Tapawingo thing in the background. It's great.
Yeah, that's over time I figured out how to have a nice background for these, so it's fun. But it is a pleasure to get to talk with you right now, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So right off the bat, what was it about this specific project that drew you to it that you wanted to participate in it?
Right away, it's script, and most often these kind of projects, they come as an offer. They, come across my agent's desk, they send it to me, and it's like, really, that's the first peek. Most of the time, is like, all right, I'll read the script, and if I react to the script, then we'll kind of see if all the other pieces fall into place. And it was very strong. I loved the script, and I felt like, oh, this is something. Let's investigate further and see what's going to happen. And, meeting the director and then seeing the rest of the casting, and all the pieces fell into place.
Mm-hmm. So one of the questions I had with this specific project is that so much of the humor feels so much like you. How much of that comes from, was it in the original script? How much improvisation happened? How much of that was a collaboration in figuring out the comedic rhythm, timing of the film?
I would say it's still, every project is a collaboration, but, you sit down, you figure out, normally as an actor, you can sense, oh, this is open for improv or changing the lines around. It all depends on the rhythm and the style and the vibe of what the writing is. And in this case, this script felt a little bit more like kind of similar to Napoleon in the way that it was more about this succinct dialogue. It wasn't like super chatty or wordy. And so I didn't feel like I needed to change that much. But there would be moments, whether it's the words or just the actions or how you react to something, where you're like, oh, let me try it this way. And you're always trying new things as an actor and seeing if the director responds. And and more often than not, they're like, oh, I love that. That's great. But this was still pretty controlled dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think even the word you used in there, I think is right. So much of the humor even is just kind of your reactions to things. Something happens and it does like a dramatic pause right on your face to kind of see how you respond to it.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
So with it, just with the film, my understanding is it shot 4 years ago. What's it like seeing a project like this with so much heart to it, finally making its way to audiences with that long journey?
I mean, it's like, it feels good. Finally, there's Hollywood projects get shelved sometimes or for whatever reason. And this was simply, I think, a very independent film where we just, the producers were, struggled to find, it wasn't even so much finding, it was really much like someone, coming from a place where we didn't have a lot of connections or to anything else, and just working on editing it. There was so much stuff we shot. We shot a ton of stuff, especially for an indie film. And it came out like, wow, there's a great movie here that's like 2.5 hours long. All right, well, how do we shorten that down? And so it's hard because, especially, I wasn't the writer director on this, but, I can only imagine for any writer, director, producer of a film, every single second is your baby, and you don't want to, cut away any of that stuff, but you got to make those hard decisions. But ultimately it feels great to finally see something that, we put a lot of love, sweat, and tears and blood. Don't forget blood. We put a lot of that love into it when we made it. And so for it to finally be able to be seen by audiences feels great.
I mean, how much did it kind of, to that point, if you said there's 2.5 hour long version, the movie that we saw is under 2 hours long, how much did it kind of morph and change along the way?
Oh, I don't know. It's too much. I mean, I watched a little bit, but I'm always telling the directors, like, don't show me. I don't want to see rough cuts. I don't want to see long. I want to see when it's final. But sometimes I'm like, well, or at least let me see when you think it's done, and then I'll tell you it's not done. But no, it was, I saw little bits and pieces along the way. And I mean, it's very weird coming from our side that we know what's missing and the audiences don't know. They never see it. And it's a very bizarre thing. So much has to, you put so much trust in the audience, and you do. And you totally believe it. Like, look, just know that they're going to see what they're going to see. And they weren't there. They didn't read the original script. And if it works, then it works. And And audiences are pretty amazing at filling in the gaps. If you feel like, oh, I don't know if they're going to understand this because we cut this part out, I was like, I think you got to give them more credit because they can fill in the gaps pretty well.
Today's video is brought to you by ExpressVPN. So I just heard something pretty mind-blowing. Netflix has 18,000 titles available globally, but they only have about 7,000 titles available in the United States. You are missing out on thousands of titles unless you're using ExpressVPN. Netflix hides content from you based on your location, and ExpressVPN allows you to change your location so you can control where Netflix thinks that you are at. They have servers in 105 countries in all 50 United States, so you can gain access to thousands of new shows. Why should you go with ExpressVPN? First off, they have their lowest price ever. Plans start at just $3.49 for a month. That's just 12 cents per day. It's super easy to use. You literally just click one button to fire it up. One more click and you can change your location. Just to let you see what this looks like, if you go to Netflix in the United States, search for Batman, nothing comes up. You just fire up ExpressVPN. Let's move on over to Spain. Head on back over to Netflix, click for Batman again, and a ton of titles pop up. So be smart, stop paying full price for a streaming service only to get a limited fraction of the content. Get your money's worth at expressvpn.com/Chandler. Don't forget to use my link at expressvpn.com/Chandler to get up to 4 extra months of ExpressVPN.
So with the kind of real distinct comedic voice of this project, with the, like you said, kind of about that specific way that it's offbeat, way it's delivered and everything like that. When you're shaping the character, how do you make sure that it's something fresh and new for you, but also delivering what people want from kind of one of these quirky performances from you?
With these kind of projects, especially these independent projects, you almost think like, you know what, I'm going to just try something. I don't know exactly what people want because this is not a typical studio film that, I got to hit X, Y, and Z, and I got to make sure I do this. You're like, it's more kind of, experimental. Like, let's try this out. And so I'm, the first couple days of shooting, I was trying different things and really for myself and for the director to kind of see like, all right, what works, what doesn't work. And so it was a concentrated effort to try to find a rhythm, a cadence, that the way the character talks, and how is it going to serve the rest of the story and the film. So it was not easy this one around.
Mm-hmm. And you touched on this a little bit earlier, but like this movie has a really great cast to it of these veteran actors. And like as an independent film, the fact that like everyone sprinkled throughout it is like a great little character actor with these rich histories, Billy Zane, Gina Gershon joining in there. Like, I don't think I've ever seen Gina Gershon in a role that was kind of this fun and just silly. What was it like kind of interacting with some of these actors in kind of this space that you've spent a lot of time?
I think these actors, I think everybody had fun because, as soon as you read the script, you're like, oh, this is like, again, dare I say the word quirky, but it is. It's like offbeat, quirky, kind of bizarre world and characters. And so everybody's going to come in with their own interpretations. And sometimes it melds with the director really well. And sometimes it's like, oh, it wasn't what I was thinking, but let's try this out. And so having worked with them, I know that they had a lot of fun trying these different things and putting on a different hat. Gina going crazy with her hair and makeup and really, and she loved it. And we loved it too.
And in it, Billy Zane is just kind of sprinkled into the movie a little bit. He's all throughout the film, but he only has like a few lines in the movie, but he has such an aura to it. What's it like playing a fight scene with Billy Zane in a movie like this?
Well, it was, that was the purpose of that character is kind of like you have, without going super deep into the story, you have this family in the town, the Tar Waters, and they kind of like the bullies of the town. But it's weird to say bullies because they're all adults. None of them are high schools. They're all adults and they're just jerks. And everybody knows. And it's just that idea of sprinkling in the name Stoney, which is his character. And not a lot, you don't really get to see him until much later. And he's supposed to be kind of the quiet, scary one. And he comes in. That was the first time I had worked with Billy. I recently just actually had another movie come out with Billy. And that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, doing a fight scene in the script, I will say, in the script originally, there's not much of a fight, but I think my character gets in a few more stuff. But when you watch the film, you're like, boy, do I get my butt handed to me. Like it was not much of a fight. It's not much of a struggle. It's more like I just get whooped.
Yeah. Got to ask the Napoleon Dynamite question. I have a 13-year-old son, and after we watched Minecraft, like, you got to watch this director's other movie, Napoleon Dynamite. He was laughing out loud from beginning to end. What do you think it is that gives that movie such a staying power that 20 years later, it's still loved by audiences?
I think it felt like it was shot 10 or 20 years prior to when it came out. So it just always felt like, oh, we're going for this kind of time bubble that doesn't have a ton of pop culture references. Yeah, you've got some soundtrack, needle drops that sound like, okay, that feels very 70s or 80s or 90s. But other than that, there's not a lot of other stuff to really age it in that way. So I think I think the themes, just the themes of youth and kind of the awkwardness of youth speaks to any generation from any time period. Like growing up is something we're all going to have to do, dealing with the opposite sex, dealing with friends, and the awkwardness of school is something everybody's going to do at some point in their life. And so I think that's why it has remained.
Final question, real quick. What's something you want people to take away from Tapawingo after they watch it?
I just hope they have a fun time. And it's a rock and roll. It's a quirky, weird, offbeat, comedy with rock and roll to me. Like it feels like it's leather clad, but it's still something for the most part that the whole family can watch for the most part. There's a lot of different ages can enjoy it, and but it's just bizarre and it's a lot of fun. And I think people can just sit back, kind of turn off their brain cells and have some fun.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. I did watch it with my family last night. My 13-year-old did want to. It's another movie from the guy that did Napoleon Dynamite. It's like, oh, I want to watch it too. So we all watched it, had a good time with it. You've been making me laugh for over 20 years. So thank you for that. And my wife wanted to say she loves the movie just like heaven, and she wanted to pass that along to you.
I will thank you so much and thank her.
Will do.